Do you know you can make a good meal with 800 naira?
In today's
Let's say
economy.
in today's economy, if rice is too expensive for you to afford consistently, like you won't be able to afford eating rice like 3 times a week, for instance, what about other options like corn? And have you thought of things that you can make out of corn? Tofu is made from
What's
soy.
tofu?
It's made from soybean. Okay, soybean is actually a protein of high biological value, as close to egg.
How does it taste?
It tastes fine, like meat,
like sausage,
like normal meat. Very sweet. You can actually use it to make your meals. You can use it make your rice, make your soup, make your stew as chicken. There are different ways of processing it. Egg is the full chicken, just in a shell form.
Welcome to Wisdom Edge. Today, I am your uncle, Olufunke Ikebude. And with me is amiable and beautiful dietitian.
I'm Favor Chukunonso.
We have a topic before us, and I want us to really chew that topic because it's a topic that's been a very big concern to me personally. All right, now we want to look at eating healthy on a budget in today's economy. Sometimes people have not even, they are not done eating well, and now you are talking about eating healthy. Now I want to know, is it really possible to eat on a budget, and then not just eating on a budget, to eat healthy?
Okay, the truth is that if one can eat, definitely one can eat healthy.
Okay.
It's something that we can attain. In as much as you're able to eat, you can afford to eat something. You can as well afford to eat healthy. But let me just say that it's a thing of priority. It depends on how you prioritize your life.
Priority.
If you make it a point of duty that you're going to eat healthy, definitely you're going to eat healthy.
Okay.
You see some people complaining that it's expensive to eat healthy. But you see the same set of people going to buy Coke with bread. Now let's do some calculation. I think a bottle of Coke should go for about 500 naira.
500, 550.
Bread now, a full loaf of bread should be around 1,800.
We have the round one, just 300 naira.
300
okay.
naira. Okay, let's go with 300 naira. So put 500 plus 300.
We have 800.
You have 800. Do you know you can make a good meal with 800 naira?
In today's economy.
In today's economy, do you know you can buy a potato of 300 naira if you want to? You can get some ingredients and vegetables and you make it into a porridge, and that becomes a good meal for you to eat. So what I'm trying to drive at is that it's a matter of choice. It's a matter of priority. If the question is it possible to eat healthy? The answer to that question is
on
yes.
A budget.
On a budget. And that's why I had to go with this example. So if it is your priority, then that's your budget can accommodate your priority, except you've not made it a priority for you. That's when it's beginning to seem like it's difficult.
It's an impossible
but
task.
Actually, it is not.
Priority. Okay, I'll personally place my priority right, because I was discussing deep yesterday with somebody very close to me, and I told him, I said, this diet is expensive. You buy cucumber, you buy this, you buy this. But before we go so far, because I'll still come to that question, to me it's expensive, but let me take it as my priority now, and then I'll walk towards it. Now, what is even eating healthy?
Okay, let's say eating healthy, simply put, is all about having a balanced diet. Okay, balanced diet that is not just balanced but also adequate. Okay,
not just balanced but also adequate.
So what do I mean? A food that is balanced for a child of 6 years may not be adequate for a man of 50 years. Though that food is balanced and adequate for that child, you can't use that food as a standard or a measure for a man of 50 years. So for each person, eating healthy entails both a food that is balanced, which means it contains all the 6 classes of food. Okay, in the right proportion.
In the right proportion.
Yes, take note of the right proportion. And then it also has to be adequate. Adequate in that you have to look at some other factors. You don't just eat because you want to eat. There are other things you have to look at. So eating healthy is all about maintaining balance and adequacy in your meal.
Eating healthy is simply maintaining balance and adequacy in your meal. And balance is not just the way you are able to stand, balanced. Is what balanced diet. Thank you so much, dietitian Favor. Now we are going to look at this. Do you think we should prioritize frozen food as they are readily available and accessible? Let me merge these questions. Frozen food and this easy to make, like noodles. What do we call them? The instant food, convenient food. Do you think we should balance them? Because the truth is that I priced a live chicken sometimes in December. I think that was the price of my wedding goat that 13, 14 years ago. Okay. Now, and you are telling me don't eat frozen food. How do you want me to attend? And I want to eat chicken because is chicken not part of the balanced diet? It is now.
Okay.
So how do we meander? We have frozen food, we have this instant and convenient food. Now, are they really healthy, or what can we use to substitute them? Because someone told me that balanced diet sometimes may not even be so attractive to you, but they are healthy for your body. And of course, we all want our bodies to be well. Remember, even the Bible says, above all things, you should prosper and be in good health as your soul prospers. So, dietitian, I want you to, use that frozen food and instant meals like noodles as example. How do we go about these things?
Okay, let me say that convenient foods are actually not cheaper. Yes, they are not cheaper.
Okay,
I think a carton of Indomie should be, depending on the brand, be around 12,000 or thereabouts. That's not up to a pence of beans. So when you're choosing your expensive, you know how to choose your expensive. What you want to spend your money on. And then when we want to talk about the issue of frozen food, it depends on which food you're talking about.
Chicken.
I'm a researcher, actually. I love research and I do my own research. I carry out my own research. And then from previous studies that have been done, we have not found any significant difference between frozen food in terms of fruits and vegetables. Okay, and the fresh ones. In terms of the antioxidant properties, they are almost the same thing. No significant difference.
Okay, you are saying that if I get carrots from the farm and the one I frozen in the freezer, by the time I make it, everything is still...
It's perfectly fine. It's as nutritious as your original, fresh fruits, your fresh vegetables. There is no difference. But then where we have concern is when it comes to frozen chicken, frozen meat and all of that. It doesn't mean it's bad. If you're able to get your live chicken, freeze it yourself and all of that, it's perfectly fine. But the concern is in the preservative. Especially the ones that are imported. So because of this, we may want to cut down on some of these things. And now, we started by talking about healthy eating. What does healthy eating even entail? There's a guideline for you to meet this standard of healthy eating. Now, if you can go on plant-based food that are predominantly plant-based, that doesn't mean you won't have animal products. Foods that are whole, foods that are minimally processed. This will go a long way in helping you to achieve your health goals. So if we should go by these standards, what it means is that taking frozen food may not even be necessary for you. Frozen chicken this time around. And then we have order of preference. It must not be chicken. Like you said, you want it to be balanced. That if you don't use chicken to cook, that doesn't mean your food is less balanced. Absolutely. If you can't afford chicken, you can go for fish. That's why we have alternatives. You go for fish. If you can't do fish, you go for egg. If you can't do egg, you go for crayfish. We have periwinkle. We have other things that you can use as substitutes. So it must not be chicken. But then as much as possible, you may want to cut down on things that are not so healthy for you. Let your food be whole. Let it be minimally processed. By
whole, you mean it should be whole grain. If I'm using guinea corn, I don't need to remove the chaff. Blend like that, or what do you mean by that?
It depends on what you want to prepare. That's food preparation, preservation.
Someone was telling me to, when I make my pap, I shouldn't even sieve it. I should drink all with the chaff.
That's not totally wrong. The person is okay.
And dietitian, I heard you once say in your lecture, I put it to you, I'm not a barrister though, that we should even use turmeric for our moi moi, and it came out very beautiful.
Yes, did you try that?
Since then, I even planted turmeric because of that. So thank you for that.
That's beautiful. So as much as possible, the goal should be to make your food as whole as possible. Minimally processed. So taking your guinea corn or your pap unsieved would perfectly be fine. But before you go on such diet, you should be sure that you don't have underlying health issues. Because for some people, you may not require that amount of fiber. For an adult, there is a particular gram of fiber you need for a day. So you don't just, you see, food is a complex matter, but we don't really look into it because we all feel we know what to eat. From childhood, we've been eating. So what's the point trying to consult someone at this point? I'm now an adult, I've been eating, nobody has been guiding me. So is there really a point to see a dietitian? Is there really a point to work with a nutritionist? That becomes the question. But truth is, before you eat something, you should be sure that what you are eating is adequate for you, so that you just don't carry an information and you run with it. And that's one of the issues we have these days. Someone will come up and say, I heard someone say you can't eat this, if you are this O group, if you are this, you can't eat this, you can't eat that.
I've heard it too.
But then this is something that is personalized. It's something that should be personalized. It's not one size fits all stuff. Okay, it's personal. Okay, so you should make sure your meals are adequate for you
and balanced
as a person, balanced for you as a person. So if you can't afford live chicken, remember we are talking health, and we have concerns of formalin being used as preservative in our chicken. You may just want to cut it out and go for something you are sure is healthy for you, a healthy option. Remember, you're on a budget. If you can't afford this, you can afford something else that will give you as close to what you are looking for in that frozen chicken. In terms of biological value, something like egg is a protein of high biological value. In fact, egg is a full chicken just in a shell form. You understand? So if you've had egg, it's as good as saying you've had chicken. So know what your budget can carry and go for a healthy alternative.
Thank you so much, dietitian. All right, I have a bit of concern for people who work around the clock. We have people who work around the clock. They don't have time to eat. Like, I work in a place where if you are not careful, you may not eat. You'll be talking and you will forget that you've not eaten. So how do you do about those kind of people? And with time, they'll just tell you, they just send the messenger, kindly get me fast food there. So what do you do about? We have men too who it happens to men a lot. Sometimes they are not able to cook from the house. They are not able to get their food like balanced as you want it. Now, in getting meals from outside, and sometimes, meals from outside may seem sweeter because we don't even know the kind of Yoruba, we say orishirishi that was, used in there. So now, what advice do you give? And they need to eat. These people need to eat. Maybe in a week they cook like twice. But then some may not even have a refrigerator to refrigerate some of them. So what advice will you give to these people who work around and who need to eat? What do you do about that?
Okay, I still want to maintain my stand on priority.
Okay.
It's all about planning. Even when someone wants to build a house, the person sits down to count the cost of building. And food is actually one of the basic needs of a man. And if we see it as a basic need that is very essential, as much as shelter and clothing, we will treat it the same way we treat these other things. You don't wait until your house rent expires before you start gathering money to pay your house rent. People go as far as planning, saving towards Christmas clothes before it's December. So the same thing, the same effort should be put into your meals. You plan your meals. Yes, you are going to work, but do you know you have to be alive, healthy, and strong
to do that work?
So it's a matter of priority. If you think eating healthy or making plans for your meal is difficult, then become sick and see if you'll be able to go to that work. So what can you do about this? First of all, plan yourself. If you know you're going to work, you won't be able to get something. Why not cook food in your house? Get a food flask, pack your food and take it to work. It will remain warm. It will still be safe for you to eat. If you actually put it as part of your plan, you will be able to achieve what you need. And just in case, remember we're also talking about on a budget.
On a budget.
You can't be talking about eating healthy on a budget and you are not making plans to make your own home-cooked food. It is actually very expensive to eat out. But then, if this is not an option for you, you won't be able to carry food to work. What you can do, one, I would suggest you do is to communicate to whoever prepares your meal. You can have an arrangement, but the truth is that you can't have both at the same time. It's either you are spending for that extra services, or
to be more expensive.
Yes, or you just eat whatever is served to you. So you may want to arrange with the restaurants or the cook to make your meals, tailor your meal to your needs.
On a budget.
That's the point. So you can't be on a budget and
And
then
be
you're not
and have
making
such
plans.
luxury.
Exactly. So, but then if you just want to eat healthy, that may be an option for you. Okay, to have that agreement. This is what I want. Make it that way for me. Alternatively, you don't necessarily need to load eba or rice as lunch. Okay, you can just have your breakfast if that is what you are able to at home. Then that period when you are at work, you may just want to take banana, 4 fingers of banana with a serving of groundnut, which is about a handful. We get a long way to keep you till you get back home and you're able to prepare something for yourself. Okay, so these are some of the things you may just want to consider instead of grabbing buns and coke, and then you are going, your cells are going through oxidative stress, and before you know it, sicknesses here and there. Because a bulk of sicknesses that we encounter these days is from our diet, it's from the things that we eat. Okay, so you don't really have an excuse because I'm going to work, I can't carry food. If you can't carry food, then make do with the fresh fruits. Have your fruit salad with a serving of nuts, be it almond nuts, be it your groundnuts,
cashew nuts,
be it your cashew nuts. By the time you eat it, these nuts are quite high in fat, and fat has a way of increasing satiety. Okay, so when you eat
what is satiety?
Fullness.
Okay.
So it has a way of making you feel full,
satisfied.
For a longer period of time. So when you eat it with something like banana or even a mixture of other fruits like cucumbers that are quite high in fiber, you find out that you'll be able to stay for like 3-4 hours. Okay, at work, and then when you get back home, you continue your food on a budget.
On a budget. Nigeria has subjected us to always do our plannings on a budget. Even when you want to have children, on a budget. You want to live in a luxurious house on a budget.
Exactly.
Thank you, dietitian. I have 2 more questions for you, and they are so dear to me now. Okay. Now we have vegetarians. Okay. There are people that are called vegetarians. How do they survive in this economy? I went to price pumpkin leaves. Let me call it the name that we will all resonate with. Ugu leaves. Like 5, or let me not bring it so high or low. Let me say 5 or 6, strands was 200 naira. Now maybe you want to cook vegetable soup or anything. How far can that go? Now we have vegetarians that leverage on fruits and vegetables. How do they cope in this economy, or what other? Just give them because I've observed something about vegetarians. They hardly fall sick. The ones I know around me, their life is just so sweet and they always look fresh. Now, I want to ask, how do they continue with that, or would they be forced to pull out of that vegetarianism because of the expense they go through in getting it? So what advice do you have for them?
Okay, different people, different tales for different foods. Okay, so there are different types of vegetarian when it comes to being a vegetarian.
I mean those on fruits, vegetables.
Yeah, there are different
categories. Okay.
But then if you're talking about generally people on restricted diets, I'll still talk about that. But when you're talking about a vegetarian, it's more like this person is not on animal protein, animal products.
That's what I mean.
So they try to. So what the person can do is just to look for plant alternatives. And I can put it to you that plant alternatives are actually not as expensive as the animal products.
Yes.
Okay. So that's pumpkin. The ugu you are talking about of 1,000 naira is not as expensive as a kilo of chicken.
2.5.
Okay, so we can make that comparison. So for them, actually, it's not really so much of a problem. All they need to do to achieve their nutritional requirements is just to go for a healthy alternative to the animal products. Okay, just find plant substitutes of the animal product that they are not taking, especially the proteins. So that
give me some what they are not taking.
Some of them don't take meat at all, any form of meat.
So what will they take to suffice for that?
Tofu. Tofu is made from soy. Tofu? It's made from soybean. Okay, soybean is actually a protein of high biological value, as close to egg.
How does it taste?
It tastes fine, like meat.
Like sausage?
Like normal meat. Very sweet. You can actually use it to make your meals. You can use it to make your rice, make your soup, make your stew as chicken. There are different ways of processing it, which maybe on another day we'll sit down and talk about food processing, preservation, and all of that. Okay, so there are alternatives to animal product that these people can go for. But then if you're talking about people on a restricted diet, probably due to health conditions, let's say someone is diabetic, or someone is hypertensive, or there is any other underlying
issue.
sickness, okay, it's actually also not difficult to manage. What you just need to do is to work closely with your dietitian or your healthcare professional. Work closely with the person to just do a modification of your normal diet. Like I said when I started, if you are able to feed, you can feed healthy. If you can actually afford to eat something, you can actually afford to eat healthy.
Because you pick the healthier option.
Yes. So for someone who is diabetic, you can just modify that food the person is eating. Personally, I have my way of managing my patients. So depending on your status, what you can afford, I will know what to prescribe. I may prescribe oats for A. If B cannot afford oats, I will look for something else. What is it that you are eating? For some people, if you can afford oats as swallow, that's fine. But if it is garri you can afford, does it mean you will not eat? No. You will still eat, but what should I do? I will modify your garri to suit your condition. And that way, though you are on a restricted diet, you are still able to follow through. You don't have to break the bank for you to manage a sickness or because you are on a restricted diet. So it's just about modifying your already existing meal, your already existing menu to suit your condition. And that way you perfectly go through.
Very importantly, and lastly, I want to know, what can we really snack on a budget that is healthy? People like to snack on something. As you mentioned, picking buns and a bottle of Coke because you cannot cook, which is really not so good for you. Now, we have people who do this. It's a routine. Monday, they do it. Tuesday, they do it. In fact, they graduate to meat by then, egg roll, And then, what do we do if we really need to snack on something? Sometimes it's not like you've not eaten, but you want to snack on something. What can you snack on a budget, and that is healthy to you and to your body?
Okay, so I think a pint of corn should be around 3,500 naira currently. So if you get a pint of corn, you can make popcorn out of it. And if you pack like 1,000 grams of popcorn to work, I bet you won't be able to finish it till you come back. And believe me,
is popcorn healthy?
Why not? Popcorn is full of fiber, so what's unhealthy about it?
Wow.
There's nothing unhealthy about it. So if you eat that popcorn from morning when you go to work till evening, you won't finish it and you'll drink a lot of water. One, you're meeting with your fiber requirements. There's carbohydrates in there. There's a certain percentage of protein in there also
fat.
For you.
Because you use oil.
Yes, you use oil. You can choose to go. Since you are the one making it, like I said earlier, you have to plan. So if you're going to make it yourself, you are sure of the ingredients you are using to make it. So you go for the healthier options. Okay, the healthier option of milk, make it to your taste, something healthy, something palatable. That it is healthy doesn't mean it shouldn't be palatable. It's something you should be eating and you should be enjoying as you're eating it. Okay, so I've given you an instance of a snack that you can make. Some of our locally available staples, you can actually turn them into healthy snacks.
Like unripe plantain.
Unripe plantain. And then instead of making it deep frying, you may also actually want to air fry it or bake them. And this way they become healthier. So it doesn't have to be fried, but it's either air fried or it's baked.
It's baked.
Okay, even our normal flour. I don't know if we know of Bambara nut flour.
Yes.
There are snacks, several snacks you can make out of them. So one thing we should do is to be open to learning. When it comes to food, you shouldn't be uptight. We are saying
and think you've been eating since ages. Who will teach me to eat now at my age?
Exactly. You just feel, okay, this is what I know. And then you want to remain there. You have to be open to new ideas. That you are from Akwa Ibom and it is only Edikaiko and Afan, right? That doesn't mean that people don't have other soup options that are cheaper than what you are already doing. For
like Ewedu.
Exactly. Like this corn I'm talking about is relatively cheaper than beans, also cheaper than rice. Okay, so we are talking about eating healthy on a budget. So if rice is too expensive for you to afford consistently, like you won't be able to afford eating rice like 3 times a week, for instance, what about other options like corn? And have you thought of things that you can make out of corn? Are there other people that make food from corn that you would want to learn from? If you are able to learn 1 or 2 recipes from these people, you can include it in your menu. Okay, and then you find out that you are not spending so much weekly on buying rice that is more expensive. So there are cheaper alternatives that you may want to look at, even if you don't know or have a recipe of what to prepare out of it. Just be open to learning. You can ask around, is there something I can make out of corn? Is there something I can make out of millet? Apart from pap, it's not just pap that you can make out. There are several things. Even your cocoyam, there are several things. Even your plantain, it doesn't just have to be fried, boiled, and all of that. There are things you can make out of this food. So it's up to you to open your mind and look out for alternatives and things you can make for it, both as your main course and also as snacks. So there are different things you can snack on if you really want to eat healthy that are actually healthy.
Thank you so much, Dietitian Favor. We hope you enjoyed every bit of today's episode on eating healthy on a budget. And, we know you also took one or two things home, and you are taking them home too, to begin to work with them, to meander your way around eating healthy, ensure they are healthy, ensure they are balanced, and also ensure you prioritize your eating. All right. Also remember to subscribe, to like, to comment, and to share. Feel free to share this video. Hope to see you in our next episode. Keep sticking glue to Wisdom Edge.